within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Bounce it out in front of home plate. Swinging a line drive, and here comes the 3-0. Into scores Henderson. O'Neill coming down the line. He's going to score on a 2-run base hit from Dylan Beavers.
A 2-out, 2 RBI knock for Beavers, and it's 3-0 Baltimore.
Cheetah batting now.
That's hit hard out to second. Holiday plays it over, and that'll retire the side. And what a return for Kyle Bradish. Ain't the big deal over the weekend. Makes the start in Boston and shuts down the Red Sox.
Courtesy of Masson and the Orioles Radio Network, the Orioles indeed get a split. The afternoon did not go well, obviously. Not a good day for Dean Kramer. But they do bounce back nicely in the nightcap in order to make sure they don't get swept in Boston. And as I said yesterday, they had to win one. I mean, it's still hurtful. We keep talking about how much ground they have to cover here, and it's hard to feel good about winning 1 out of 3. Obviously, given where they were, it could have been worse. That's, I feel like, maybe the thing we keep saying about the Baltimore Orioles. Well, yeah, but it could be worse, I guess. But you're still not necessarily feeling good. Good morning. It's Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. The Orioles wake up today 50-53. They're still 3 games under 500. They are still on the outside looking in, 3 games back of a wild card spot. And as I keep saying, I hear the arguments for, well, they could still be aggressive, or based on what Mike Elias says, you would expect them to be a bit more aggressive, but to actually be a contender, they would need to be wildly aggressive. And that part is very difficult to justify. What, at the same time, is more difficult to justify when they win games is the idea of going the other way, right? Like, so every day that, they hang in the picture, and this is hanging in the picture, it's less likely that they would move Trevor Rogers, maybe even Taylor Ward. Like, I still think they could just trade Taylor Ward because why wouldn't they trade Taylor Ward? But the flip side argument is, well, somebody's got to play. And if they don't acquire that type of outfield bat, then they just need him to play because they need him to play.
Tyler O'Neill's playing.
Tyler O'Neill is their best hitter. Like, let's be obvious about that at this point. Look, the afternoon game was a mess. Dean Kramer was a mess, and Dean Kramer is kind of the weakest link of the rotation at the moment. It was interesting. Who shared the tweet? It might have been Wyrick this morning. Hang on a second. Oh, let me make sure I have this right. Somebody shared the tweet about, like, F-WAR for Orioles pitchers since the start of June. Of the guys not named Dean Kramer, Kyle Bradish actually has the lowest Fangraphs WAR of any of the Orioles starters since the beginning of June, which is kind of wild. I have to think about, like, is that impacted by the fact that other guys have maybe made extra starts? But I'm sure none of us would have bet that Shane Baz had the highest F-WAR of any Orioles pitcher since the start of June. I don't think that's something any of us would have considered. But he sits at 1.6, Rogers at 1.5. We've talked about how Rogers has been brilliant since the start of June. Well, as it turns out, according to Fangraphs, Shane Baz has been even better. Now,
what does Fangraphs know?
Right, what does Fangraphs know? My eyes done tell me something different. and I don't know. Like some of that would be he's had some bad luck, and even the start the other night, obviously there were about 6,000 errors in that game, and so that factors in to the credit that Shane Baz is given. But that was a little surprising to me. I'm not going to lie about that. I was like, I would have told you that if Dean Kramer's the weakest link in this chain, then I think Shane Baz is currently the next weakest link in the chain. But Fangraphs disagrees with my perspective on the subject. I've got nothing else to say about the topic.
I guess they just, I don't know. I don't know how they calculate their WAR, I guess. They just don't give a lot of, because I guess apparently it's still really good if the Orioles and the Red Sox are the only two teams with
yes, obviously,
4 guys in that.
Obviously. Yeah, Kyle Bradish only being at 0.8. That suggests that Shane Baz has been twice as valuable as Kyle Bradish since the start of June. And again, goes back to there's been a couple of Kyle Bradish stinkers in there. But kind of does blow your mind. Really does kind of blow your mind thinking about the possibility of that. Takeaways from yesterday in particular. One, the biggest takeaway, probably Kyle Bradish is really good. But as you see, it's Dylan Beavers who's up on the board.
Yeah, what the hell?
And the reason why Dylan Beavers is up on the board is because, that was what was required. Kyle Bradish was going to have to pitch well no matter what. The Orioles needed to prove they could do to other – the number of times recently that the Orioles have fallen behind.
They really should. They really should at Eduardo Rivera.
What's that?
Eduardo Rivera.
Fine.
They
show
really
it. You need to show it to somebody. My God, how many times are the Orioles going to fall behind in games? And obviously yesterday was even worse because, they fell behind 4-0, and they just never had a chance in the afternoon. It's kind of nice to do that to someone else. And particularly given that there were 2 outs in the first inning and it was looking like a rally. Now, look, they were gifted 1, but it was looking like they were still only going to come away with the 1 in the first inning. And given the fact that these Red Sox have been zombies, that wasn't going to be good enough. So there was no doubt to me that the biggest story of the game yesterday was that they absolutely needed someone to come through. Now, give Jonathan Rodriguez credit, too, because obviously
J-Rod?
he followed it up. Yeah, that's the guy they call him, J-Rod.
Give him his respect.
He followed it up and tacked one more on, but there is no doubt in my mind that the biggest swing of the game was that one, and plating at least 3, obviously ended up being 4, and he, of course, scored the 4th, was the story. Kyle Bradish was very good, no doubt about it. The biggest story was the Orioles got the offense going, and Dylan Beavers was the biggest part of that. So Dylan Beavers goes up on the board for yesterday's game. I don't even remember if the Basayo thing happened after we went off the air yesterday, right? It was 2 seconds later.
Yeah, I guess
we
so.
saw that Basayo was on the injured list because we were still talking there was a possibility that he was going to go. He was going to catch in game 2. That's the other big takeaway is ultimately Samuel Basayo goes to the IL. And nothing good comes from that. It means more Sam Huff and Chadwick Tromp at least for a few days.
12 minutes before first pitch.
Yeah.
15.
Yeah. Nothing good coming from that. And the problem is, in a normal world, you'd say, well, right now they just need to stay afloat. I would say they don't need to just stay afloat. They need to make up ground, and they're doing it with hands tied behind their back. On top of all the issues they've already been dealing with, on top of, all of the players that are failing to perform at the level that you would want them to be performing at, then you add in that the guys that are performing are not available. It ain't great. It just ain't great. And you pray that for both Rutschman and Basayo, these are just 10-day stints, and then they're good to go, and there's nothing more there. But boy, does it make it more and more difficult to buy in. I did, one of the things we didn't bring up yesterday is somebody asked me, does that put the nail in the coffin for Adley Rutschman being traded? And we're coming obviously on the heels of Jeff Passan ruffling everyone's feathers 2 days ago by including Adley Rutschman and having him on the list of the players most likely to be dealt, and saying that the Orioles are listening to calls on Adley Rutschman. And what I would say is I don't think so. I think if it was a more serious injury, then, absolutely it would be the final nail in the coffin. But I start with, I don't think many of us believe, even Jeff Passan said the odds were like 30% that Adley Rutschman got traded. So I don't think this injury is going to shake that conversation much. I think that conversation has always been based around what could you get for Adley Rutschman? And if a team wants to take that big swing and make a really serious offer for 1.5 years of Adley Rutschman, I don't think the Orioles are going to back off on that because Samuel Basallo's hurt. I don't think teams are going to back off on a willingness to do that because of a minor injury to Adley Rutschman. Again, if it was one that was going to linger well into August, and I know that when we're talking about Orioles injuries, you never know what the actual truth is, but if that was the case, then I do think, because part of the value of trading for Adley Rutschman is getting 1.5 years of him, and if you have questions about whether you're getting that half of the year, then I don't think you're going to be willing to offer that type of big haul that it would take for the Orioles to make the move. It's the nuance, it's the subtlety that always gets lost when people just want to be angry that I'm talking about it. I think it's very specific. I'm not saying trade Adley Rutschman for the sake of trading him. I've never said that. I've never said I wanted the Orioles. I keep praying that every day is going to be the day that I walk in and the Orioles announce extensions for Adley Rutschman and Trevor Rogers. I pray that's the case. Because then we can just talk about something else. The other favorite topic, adding a wide receiver. That's what we can do. We can just pivot all of it to that. But in the meantime, until that occurs, I can't operate with the assumption that it's occurring. Because, it's not occurring. So, no, I don't think that either one of these injuries removes the conversation or ends the conversation or puts the nail in the coffin. I've always thought it was still less likely that it was going to occur because it was going to take a big swing from someone in order to get him, and it seems like the team that's most in need of a catcher is the Yankees, and so they'd have to take an even bigger swing. The Orioles are not announcing in a rebuild. Who cares who you're selling your pieces to? In a retool, it does matter that it's a team that hypothetically, maybe not this year, but you'd like to compete against next year to win the division. So to be willing to make that the Yankees would have to offer something insane. And with respect, Adley Rutschman, he's not Manny Machado. He's not a generational baseball player. He's a good player at a prime position. And so I think they're going to listen. I think they're going to keep listening. And it will be interesting to see. I'd still say I don't think it's likely. I think I'm more inclined to believe that if there's a solution to the labor dispute, that it will be revisited in the offseason. It's a huge if, obviously, related to the labor dispute. And if there is no resolution to that, then you just got to go try to win with Adley Rutschman next year. And again, pray that at some point he wakes up. As I said to someone who disagreed with Jeff Passan's position about it not being likely that he's going to sign an extension, I don't think Jeff Passan's making that up. I don't think that's Jeff Passan. This is not, fly-by-night Bleacher Report guy or even me.
You would make stuff up?
This is Jeff. No, but I would posit that guys don't usually sign at this point, right? Like that would be, my theory would be, typically when you get this close to free agency, you want to go to free agency. So I could write it that way, and I could say, hey, hey, it's not likely that Adley Rutschman's going to sign, and it could be based on nothing other than mathematically, typically guys don't sign when they're this close to free agency. Jeff Passan doesn't usually put his name to hypotheticals. Usually he's got something else that he's basing that on. And I'm not saying that's the Orioles telling him that Adley Rutschman refuses to sign or he won't sign, as much as it's more likely that he's been talking to the other teams who have said, by the way, the Orioles are listening, and we get the sense that that's because they can't get him to sign. Mathematically, there's definitely still time. And I would even say, I hope that it changes. I keep saying that. I keep telling you, I hope that it changes. And that any moment now.
And even they could still sign him in free agency, right? Like, I mean.
Well, they could sign him in free agency whether he's here or not. They could trade him and then still sign him in free agency. Our friend Mike Bordick famously was once dealt the New York Mets. And the Orioles landed Melvin Mora, who, if they had been any good, that would have been a helpful piece for them. But, obviously they were not good. Melvin Mora was good. And then they just signed Mike Bordick back in free agency. Now, I'm not trying to compare Mike Bordick with respect. That's my guy.
Yeah, Adley
I'm not trying to compare. Yeah, right. Not trying to do that. Just pointing out that it has happened before, and that when people, I just don't know what the actual. We hear that all the time. Well, if you let him go somewhere else, then he might not have the good vibes and good feelings. And particularly, I'll compare that to Trevor Rogers right now.
So
you're telling me that there's the good vibes, that this is I just can't get enough of this, and if I go experience some. You mean to tell me there are other clubhouses? There are other places in baseball that exist?
Now, he's one they could, just because it's weird. I mean, they had him on the broadcast yesterday, and again, it seems like every time there's a microphone in front of Trevor Rogers, he's talking about how much he would love to sign.
Why hasn't he signed?
That's
the guy that was 2 years further away from free agency has signed.
So the Orioles don't want him?
I don't think that's it. I think that a player can say, I want to be somewhere as much as he wants. The agent is the one that says, this is what we believe your value to be.
It feels like every time he says that, though, it would hurt their negotiating, wouldn't it?
I don't think that would have any impact whatsoever.
You don't think so? Him saying, I really
want
to be here.
If there's another team that his agent said, hey, hypothetically, if Rogers was out there, how much would you pay for him? And they've said, this is the number, and the Orioles aren't meeting that number, then they're going to say he can love it here all he wants. He's also going to love it in, I was about to say Seattle. I don't think they need any more pitching. I think that's the least of their troubles.
San Diego.
Yeah,
Atlanta.
Wherever it's going to be. Did you see the bizarre list of Kevin Gausman's no-trade clause teams? Hang on, we're going to get to Zalis here in 1 second. What a bizarre combination of teams.
On my list too, yeah.
I'm so befuddled by this list of teams. Kevin Gausman, this is according to TSN, which, of course, is the ESPN of Canada. And so that makes sense they'd be covering the Blue Jays. Kevin Gausman's no trade by the way, it's written very poorly. Kevin Gausman's has released his no trade list. One, that's just bad grammar, but hey, who am I to judge? We've screwed lots of things up yesterday.
Apparently Rosenthal reported it as well. So.
Oh, okay, that's where it came from. All right.
They both might have.
The Reds, the Brewers, the Tigers, the Mets, the Athletics, the White Sox, the Pirates, and the Mariners. And you look at that list and you're like, okay, there's a lot of cold weather in there. There's a lot of, it's the northern part of the country for the most part. You don't see the Marlins or the Rays or the Braves or the Astros or the Rangers on that list. So you're like, all right, it's a cold weather thing. That makes sense. But then you notice, the Red Sox aren't on that list.
Yeah.
Awfully cold in Boston.
The Brewers are in first place and they play indoors, so
yeah.
Is he worried about going to Chicago?
Right.
But then why aren't the Chicago's on the?
Yeah, the Yankees, either the Cubs, the White Sox are on the list. The Reds are on there, but the Guardians aren't. What is this list? Does he know someone specifically in each organization that he just hates? I can't figure what this list is. It's so weird. But yes, with all respect to Trevor, I pray that Trevor Rogers really wants to be in Baltimore so badly, he gives his agent the middle finger and says, you take whatever they offer. But that's not how baseball works. It's not, and it never will be. Baseball works with where are you going to get the most money? Because your agent's going to get you there. And if the Orioles are willing to pay what Trevor Rogers could possibly get in free agency and they think they know what that number is, then he'll sign. That's it. But short of that, the conversation has to continue. Today's show is brought to you by County Sports Zone. CountySports.zone is the website for you to find out everything going on in high school sports. It's all proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com as we get ready for fall sports season, football just around the corner. Get all the updates right there, CountySports.zone. Look at this man's palatial estate. What? It comes out of retirement, all of a sudden he's living the high life? Where are you, Ken Zalis? You down in Myrtle Beach?
I'm in my backyard.
What? That's your backyard?
Baltimore's beautiful this time of year.
I am on my screened-in porch right now.
Well, it looks lovely today. It looks
It is. You should come over sometime. You have an open invitation. You have an open invitation.
I would love to come over.
You, the wife, and the boys. You can bring Griffin if you want.
Do I want to though? Actually, you know what? I'll bring Griffin and not the boys. That's what I'll do.
Okay. There you go.
Or if I'm bringing the boys, Griffin's responsible for them. That's
there you go.
That'll
work. They they can't get into too much trouble back here.
I hope not. What's going on, pal? How's retirement?
It's good.
Yeah,
it's good. I wish I could retire from other things and
it's hilarious.
Just clown around with you guys.
Who's threatened to retire more, you or Rogers? Which one?
I did not threaten to retire. I actually stopped.
Yeah, for like 5 minutes.
No, it's actually been 2+ years, believe it or not.
Yeah, kind of.
The thing is, I still play and I still like hanging out with you guys on Thursdays or whatever days we do it. So I haven't been gone, but I haven't, the article I wrote was the first article I wrote in 3 years.
That's not, again, it's not fully true. You filled in for Serpico at one point. That's not fully true.
I did.
Yeah.
But I, like I said, when I wrote it, like I've always played, I'm in 20+ leagues. Every day I do a best ball draft. I'm up to over 125. So like I still do this.
So then why did you lie? Why, when I told you you're going to be back, did you fight with me? You knew I was right. You knew I was right.
Because so one of the things I stopped for a really good reason. And two, that reason really
because you're a dad, because you're being a soccer dad.
I am. And he'll be a senior this year. So that really hasn't changed, but from some persuading, we'll not go into that. I am back. I'm happy I'm back. I enjoy doing it. I never stopped because I didn't enjoy it. I just couldn't put the time into it. And we've worked out something for the first couple months of the football season where it can work around my schedule and my son's schedule, and then we'll be.
And then after that, you're just going to quit again, and then you'll come back a year after that. That's the way it's going to work.
The next time I do promise you this: the next time I stop will be stopped for good. It'll be an age thing. I'm getting old.
We'll see. I doubt it. All right. So for those that don't know, Ken Zalis is back, and we'll be providing fantasy football content for us at PressBox and PressBoxOnline.com.
Nice.
In the 2026 season, he has already gone to work. If you go to PressBoxOnline.com/fantasy, you can see his overall rankings. You can see some different stories about what he'd be looking at each position in the first round. That's already available. Let's talk about a couple of things that I'm thinking about going into the year, right? Like, you have Bijan over Gibbs at the top of the draft. And my difficulty with this is my questions about the quarterback position in Atlanta, right? Where, like, I know the guy in Detroit is throwing the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, I know that.
Yep.
Why Bijan, who I think from a talent perspective is the most, maybe arguably the most complete in his prime running back in the league, but I still just have enough questions about that offense and their ability to be able to run the ball later in games because I don't know how good they're going to be. Why should I go Bijan over Gibbs, who I am leaning towards?
So we're splitting hairs. I mean, this is 1A, 1B.
Yes, but the number one pick is pretty important, Ken.
It is, but you can't. If you took Robinson, Gibbs, or in some cases Jamar Chase, I mean, none of those are bad picks. And at the end of the year, we just want the guy that's gonna give us top 5, even top 10 in overall fantasy production at a non QB position. So I hear everything you're saying, and nothing you said was wrong. The difference is that when you do have, first of all, the offensive line in Atlanta is still really, really good. As it is in Detroit, although Detroit's had a little bit more fall off season than Atlanta has, I would argue. I think you're going to lean more onto Robinson in those situations where you're going to see the dump offs maybe even increase, and you're going to see maybe the reliance a little bit more. Whereas, as good as Gibbs was last year, and as good as I think he's going to be this year, there are many more mouths to feed and many more high profile targets that when you have a quarterback like Jared Goff who's going to throw for 4,500 yards, that it's not just all going to be dump off to Gibbs. So I just, it's like 9.9 to 9.8 in the overall scheme of things. We're really splitting hairs. I just think that you're going to lean even more into the reliance on a Bijan Robinson in Atlanta. Algiers is now gone over to Arizona, so I think you have even more upside from a touchdown maker position than you did last year from Bijan, and that's just why I have him over Gibbs. Again, you want to give me the argument? It's tough to argue against everything that you're going to say about Gibbs. He was so good last year. He doesn't. Same thing. Montgomery's not there for him now. They're very mirror images of each other. I just think that the propensity to throw the ball downfield is probably going to be a little higher with Detroit this year than it may be with Atlanta. So we may be talking about an extra 10 to 15 grabs from Bijan this year.
One of the big storylines for me going into draft season every year is trying to figure out, who the rookie running backs are that are primed to step in. The Woody Marks, for example.
Yeah.
And where you should be targeting them. It's weird because obviously the rookie running back that's got the highest profile is Jeremiah Love, but Arizona.
My God,
yeah,
there's a billion other guys there. Are they really going to lean into it?
Well, you would like to think that you don't spend a draft pick that high to not you damn well better be planning on using him a boatload. But Arizona's such a mess. I have no idea where to consider Jeremiah Love, and then I want to talk about a couple others.
Yeah, I mean, right now I have him as 17th on my running back, so he's an RB2, a solid RB2. It's just so hard because they went out in free agency and brought in Tyler Algiers, who, didn't get the volume in Atlanta, but every time he touched the ball was really productive. You still got Trey Benson, who, if he's ever healthy, was one of the top guys. They still have Connor on the roster. I kind of think that Connor or Benson is a trade candidate as the offseason and training camp goes on and they see what they have. It's just tough for me. Like if I go wide receiver early in a draft, it's tough for me to have Love as my RB1 because he may be the guy eventually, but can I say he's going to be the guy in the first 6 weeks of the season? I don't know. And that's, when you're talking about 6 weeks in fantasy football, that's just under halfway of the regular season. So he's tough. I've been avoiding him as an RB1, which is if you go wide receiver in the first or second round and like to build that way, which is where he winds up being. So I've been kind of avoiding him in most of my drafts just because I just don't know early on. And can I really, can I have it build enough depth at running back where I don't need him for the first 6 weeks. I don't know. I don't like to build my running back situation there. I mean, he comes off the board at the exact spot that Kyron Williams, Cam Scatterboo, Brees Hall come off the board.
Well, hang on.
I'm not taking him over any of those guys.
I hear you saying that, and I know that's right, but like I have so many questions about so many of the like. They don't have do they have an offense in with the Jets? Do they have one? Is Cam Scatterboo going to be walking by week 2 of the NFL season? Williams, I don't really have.
Depends how many backflips he does.
Yeah, right.
I don't know, but here's the thing. Bryce Hall and Cam Scatterboo are in offense.
That's our guy. That's our guy, KZ. Bryce Hall. That's our guy.
I'm sorry. What I say?
You said Bryce. It's Brees. Obviously.
Okay, whatever. This part's never going to.
That's our guy. That's our guy.
Yeah, that's Brees.
That's our Ken.
But like they're in high volume situations. They both catch the ball out of the backfield. Yeah. Are they going to use? I look and understand anybody who's going to say, "Well, you don't like Jeremiah Love." Nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, my God, the number 1 running prospect, and may have been.
You don't like Arizona. That's the you don't like the.
I just
the
don't.
Mess.
I do like Arizona because I like the pieces in Arizona. Nice. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be if Brissett is going to be there. There's just so many running backs right now that are mucking this up for me early in the season. I just don't know. It's the next running back we're probably going to talk about is Price in Seattle.
That's the guy that I can't. I know I'm going to end up getting an itchy trigger finger. I saw you've got him ranked 27th. Like, I'm going to end up taking that guy way sooner than I possibly should. Obviously, Charbonnet's the guy, but he's coming off an injury. Like,
he just went on PUP, so yeah. You don't know if he's going to be available the first 4 weeks at all. Here's what we have to watch really training camp really, really hard in Seattle, because they have some other guys there that they do like. They don't have the pedigree that Price does. We don't know how soon Charbonnet. You think that Price is walking into just a fantastic situation with a built-in setup offense that they're just missing the running back because of the injuries. Let's put it this way. You're going to have to take him much earlier than I have him ranked right now to get him. Okay. I mean that, but look at the guys that I have around him. David Montgomery, Quentin Junkins, who's coming back from an injury, Bucky Irvin, who's coming back from injury. Like, if those guys are right, I like those situations a little bit more than even the Seattle situation. So based on volume and what those coaching staffs want to do I trust Tootin out of Jacksonville as he's walking into a starting running back 3-down type guy more than I do Price, because those are the types of guys you're going to have to take Price over. And again, my problem is early on, do I trust him in the first 4 weeks to be my running back 2? I don't know if that's the answer. I think that's one of for running back, that's going to be one of the key things to watch in the preseason. And, if somehow Zach Charbonnet comes off a PUP in the first week of training camp, then that's going to knock Price down even sooner. So, this is why we always say wait to draft in your fantasy football leagues as late as possible, because this is a exact situation that we're going to have to wait until after the last preseason game to really figure out what's going on there and how the usage is going to be early in the season.
Any of the other rookie running backs that you'll be targeting?
Targeting is a tough word. I wind up with Jonah Coleman in Denver a lot in some situations, because I can see
a path,
a path there. any time, you spend some draft capital and there's a situation where there's some injury risk and there's some underperformance from last year, I think you see a path there. He's probably the one I wind up with the most. I think all the other running backs, they need injuries and things like that to be good this year. I think the kid Allen out of Washington that's in
Katron Allen,
Washington.
yeah.
Yeah, I really like his tape. I loved what I saw from him going into the draft. And again, you know, Crosby Merritt, who knows what's going on there? Is he going to be the guy there? They bring in White, who you like his skill set as a receiver. I don't know if he can be an every down back. So, he's probably an injury away from having a pretty significant role for the Commanders. So, guys like that, nobody else really jumps up. I know a lot of people are drafting late as a flyer Emmett Johnson in for Kansas City because anybody could be the running back in Kansas City at any moment. So I don't think there's much else there. People like Singleton going to Tennessee, but he's got two guys blocking him, so he needs two injuries to me to Pollard and Spears to jump up. He's worth monitoring, of course, but nobody else. It's Love and Price, and then these are late round guys. 11th, 12th, 13th round type guys that you can see a path, but they need some help to get there.
Let me ask quickly, Ken. One guy that I'm actually starting to wonder if maybe we're undervaluing now. Like I know we've been so burned by their quarterback situation, but the idea of Justin Jefferson sitting there deep in the first round, right? Like at the end of the first round. I'm not trying to suggest that Kyler Murray is going to be a savior, but when Kyler Murray has been healthy and has had legit number one types of wide receivers, he has been pretty good at getting them the ball. Are we potentially now overcorrecting on Justin Jefferson? And if he's sitting there around 7, like you could be legitimately getting the best fantasy player of the year later in the first round.
I just don't know. And the reason I say this, here's the tough part about Justin Jefferson and the quarterback. Last year, I think he finished somewhere outside RB2 territory. So lower than
or wide receiver too.
Wide receiver territory, wide receiver under wide receiver 24 if we're talking about 12-team league. So, 25 through 30 is where he wound up. And you can look that up if you have it readily.
Yeah.
But the funny thing for me is that he had 140 plus targets. He had 84 receptions and he had over 1,000 receiving yards. And the quarterback situation was awful. Yeah. If he gets even solid quarterback play, how many more targets is he really getting? I mean, it's 141 is a ton. Like, is he getting 170? Is he getting 180? Does he get to 100? Is he adding 50 more? Like to get into the Amon-Ra St. Brown, JSN, you need 140 to 150 catches, something like that. Like, is he getting that even with better quarterback play? So I don't know that I have a tough time taking him where he's going as, in the late first round, because I think I'd rather have James Cook. I know I'm a running back snob, but I'd rather have James Cook.
Is it as simple as just the touchdowns kind of regressing back towards the mean, where he only scored 2 touchdowns last year?
I know, but is it okay? So does he score 8?
Yeah, right. Is that too much of an
Like I mean,
overcorrection?
you're having to get to where you have to take him. Like you need 25 to 40 more catches, 200 plus more yards, and 6 more touchdowns. Is it?
I think if
Sure,
I
it's
think if
possible.
I think if Kyler Murray is healthy, it's possible. I think it's possible.
Is it?
I do. I mean, Kyler
All of a
Murray
sudden,
had
like
no.
everybody hates Kyler Murray. All of a sudden, he's the
You
savior.
know what, but we hate Kyler Murray because he starts playing video games. It's not about him being.
Well, but-
the Vikings aren't
well,
going to
he's
be
not-
good. It's a different
GTA comes out
conversation.
mid-November.
But
that's the
Kyler
date
Murray
for certain.
was good at throwing the ball to DeAndre Hopkins. Like he was good at throwing
He
the
was.
ball.
And he
to-
threw the ball to Trey McBride. Trey McBride
Right.
was great on with him.
Yes.
But but that's the underneath. Is he able to throw the ball down the field and capitalize on what Justin Jefferson
I
does
mean,
best?
he can heave the ball, but yeah, I mean,
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like I just don't know that Kyler Murray solves that. 30 additional catches, 200 additional yards, and 6 more touchdowns. I don't know that, and because I don't know that, I'm a pass. Again, if I can get him at 12, 13 on the turn, that's fine. I'm not taking him 7 through 10. I'm just not.
Well, and on top of everything else, as if everybody else hadn't got their licks in, Ken Zalis joins the parade of those disrespecting Lamar Jackson this year. 2 behind Josh. You're as bad as the NFL players are, KZ. God.
What do you mean 2 behind him?
No, you had 2. You had at 2 behind Josh Allen.
Oh, he's at 2.
Yes.
Oh, come on.
How dare you? How dare you continue this parade of disrespect shown towards Lamar Jackson this offseason? How
Stop.
dare you, sir?
I'm not even going to entertain this.
How dare you? Hey, if
Josh Allen's the better fantasy guy. I hate to tell you all this. He just is.
What a jerk you are. What a bad person.
He just
you are.
is. He scored, and it all comes down to the amount of touchdowns he scores with his feet. I mean, this is like.
All right, I get it. They line him up at the 1, and they just. I understand. Stop. I'm not fighting you.
I don't like this.
One versus 2. That's.
I'm not actually fighting you. I'm doing shit.
I know.
If the Ravens were to sign Stephon Diggs, where would he be in your wide receiver rankings?
Top 10.
Oh God, no. He'd be in the top 36. He'd be a wide receiver. I maybe outside the top 36. I just. What's he going to catch? 50 balls if he signs here? I mean, are we really saying that if he signs, he said, and it was a great quote, and he's probably right. He'd be the best wide receiver too, and it's probably not exactly true, but he'd be in the top 10 of wide receiver.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, so but how many catches is the wide receiver two in Baltimore? Like I just again, I don't think it would be a bad thing. I think it would stunt the growth, but who cares about that, of some of the wide receivers you had. But I mean, I hope it doesn't take away from the 80 to 90 balls that Zay's going to catch. You're still a run first offense. If he signs in Baltimore, he's low end wide receiver 3, high wide receiver 4 for me.
Ken Zalis. So what is this going to look like as we move towards football season?
We're going to continue to go through until we exhaust the top 12 of our mock drafts, and then we'll probably do a couple of fun mock drafts where I mock draft for a QB2 league, and I do
I can't wait for whatever dumb rules you're putting into our league.
It's there. I don't even remember what I did. I honestly don't remember, but you can go
God
look at it.
knows.
It's there. I'm not changing anything.
Ken,
nobody,
nobody pays for this league. Nobody's checking. This isn't relevant. It's just to piss us
off. If you
off.
don't check and you show up at the
you
draft,
just want to piss us off. That's it. You want us to be pissed off. You are the NFL players ranking Lamar Jackson at 69 so that we'll bitch about it on the internet and you'll get attention. That's what it is.
Yeah. I can't think of anything dumber to be upset about, but okay.
Or you could do, you could charge people to be in the league. It's a hell of an idea.
I'm not doing that. You can run my rules and charge people. I do
Oh,
not
wait.
wanna-
I have to inherit. If I'm in charge, I have to inherit your dumbass rules.
Or you can do it yourself, and I'll just play. I'm good either way. But I'm happy to
passing the buck. He's like, I'm out of retirement, but I'm only kind of out of retirement.
I am happy to run the league. I am happy to chase people down and make sure they are in the league. I don't want anything to do with the money aspect of it.
Griffin can do that.
but
Wait
if
a
I'm
second.
gonna
Wait.
do that,
Is the
my
problem
fun-
just wait? Is the problem legitimately that you just don't want to be Matt Miller? Because if that's the case, Griffin will rob people of their money just fine.
Yeah.
He's happy to do
that. Isn't that a crazy story?
Insane. I have not talked about it at all because, like, I feel bad. I do feel bad for what he's going through physically, and I hope he's okay. But
I hope he's okay physically. This isn't about that.
Yeah.
But dude,
yeah, not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
Not
man.
good.
Not
Like
good.
if you're some random schmo running a bunch of leagues, it's still not good.
Oh yeah, you should. Well,
But
you
if
should be
you're
charged with a
you,
crime.
If you're you, oh no,
Dude, it's criminal, is what it is. It's criminal. Period.
Yeah, it's
all right. If you tell everybody that they got to pay, what is it? Whatever the freight is, Griffin will be in charge of the money. We do that. Everything we do, Griffin's in charge of it.
I will send that out. I will send out.
You want just
the second week of August? I'm going to send it out because I'm going
put
away.
my Venmo in, I guess.
Yeah.
And I will do that. You are also in charge of figuring out is Stan still in the league? How to get him to do Venmo?
Stan's kind of on his deathbed at the moment. It's difficult. He got a new hip. We love him. We love Stan.
I love it. Okay, so he'll be doing cartwheels in a couple.
Exactly
months.
right.
Yeah,
exactly right.
yeah. That's fine. That happens.
We're happy for him.
I'm probably about 15 years away from that. I'm with you.
Some days I feel like I'm not even 15. Some days I walk in and I'm like, I'm only 42.
Come on, you were
the
just
hell is
running
going?
You were running with the Lions in the Serengeti. Shut up.
All right. Ken, we will be talking.
By the way, I was promised I could say something about the Orioles.
Yeah, did tell me you could talk about
what the hell do you want to say about the Orioles?
If I get what you said about Mr. Rogers, and I only thing I'm asking the Orioles is if you trade him because you couldn't come to an agreement, please tell us what your offer was.
Well, they're never gonna do that.
Tell us what your offer was.
They're
I want to know.
never gonna do that.
I want to know what if you really tried to sign him, because if you didn't offer this cat 3 years, $65 million, at a minimum,
right?
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, he's also a lefty, so I feel like he's gonna think his value is
this dude's part of the solution. He's not part of the problem. You figure it out. If you're truly going for it this year, you can't trade him because you're just putting up the white flag if you trade him because you have nothing to replace him with. And if you don't, and how can we go into another off season needing pitching again? Who are you getting cheaper that's better than he is?
Brother,
yeah, he had a little hiccup here and there.
Brother,
Trey Gibson.
I'm with you. But you're never.
I like Trey Gibson.
Do you? Do you really?
I do. I think he's got stuff. I think we could do this all day. I like it. I like his stuff. I don't like how they have used him and how they have pitch select for him.
All right, I mean, maybe we could talk about that another point.
Yeah,
you're never gonna know what the offer is. Also, it's really hard for me to believe they're gonna lose. So, trading Trevor Rogers at this point would require them having to lose something like 6 of their next.
Well, but
8.
but if you're not re-signing him, you have to trade him. Yeah,
no. That's the problem. They would say if they're in it, they have to hold him to try to go for it.
I understand.
This is where you and I would say, what are you really going for?
Right.
And that's why I think you should be thinking about it. I don't think they'll actually do it unless they go, again, they lose 2 out of 3 to the Braves this weekend. They lose 2 out of 3 to the Tigers next week. And they lose 2 out of 3 to the Phillies. They lose 6 of their next 9. And now all of a sudden they're 6 games back.
I agree with you. But still, by trading him, he should be part of the solution for next year, not creating another problem.
I hear you.
I just
hear you.
what's it? in free agency, I'm asking this, and I know you got to go.
Yeah.
In free agency, are there 3 pitchers that are more valuable that are on the trade market than he is as a starter?
I have not looked at the lists.
Take Skubal. Obviously,
yes, obviously Skubal's at the top of the list. I got to think about who else is.
Outside of that, would you rather have him or Gausman?
Freddie Peralta's a free agent as well.
That's a
and
tough.
He's having a bad year,
Well, and Michael King will probably opt out again, right?
Okay, but the guys you think are
I don't think it's
he's
I don't
in
think
the
it's
top 3
I don't
me.
know that if it's 3, but it's I know what you're saying. He's going to be in that water that you'd be shopping in anyway, right? Like
right.
We're in
like,
agreement. We are in agreement that the Orioles should sign Trevor Rogers, but they haven't signed Trevor Rogers.
I know.
That's the issue.
And I don't want to beat up on them because they signed Kyle Bradish.
That's a good thing. We like
deal.
that.
My God.
We like that.
Yay.
Yes.
Yay.
by all
For
means.
everybody that criticizes them, can you come back to the table and say, hey, they did a good thing?
Mm-hmm. All right. I love you, pal. We'll look forward to doing this more.
Thank
you,
guys.
buddy. It's Ken Zalis. Back officially out of retirement. We always knew he was going to be. There was never a doubt about that, but happy to have him back. We love KZ. But come back in. Why don't we do it this way? Because I have another engagement today. So how about we'll come back in. We'll maybe do Tidbit Tubular. And then we can talk to Brandon Butterworth after that. Does that work?
That should work.
It would work for me.
You need me to check with Brandon.
Work for me.
Yeah, I'll check.
All right. Today's show also brought to you by the print issue of Press Box, which is available for free at your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores and at the hundreds of locations around town where you find Press Box. You can read it all as well for free at PressBoxOnline.com. Go pick it up today. Kevin Brown on the cover. Glenn Clark Radio.
The stars are shining brighter at Live Casino this summer. Celebrate America's 250th with $1 million. Earn entries daily July 1st through August 29th and snap a pic with our game board for a chance to win $100 in free play every week. We'll draw 50 free play winners each Saturday and $1 million winner on August 29th. Light it up at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
Aloha, O's fans. Summer is in full swing, and so is Hawaiian Shirt Weekend at the Yard. Catch the O's take on the Atlanta Braves Friday, July 24th and Saturday, July 25th at 7:05 p.m. Be one of 20,000 fans to score a Birdland Hawaiian shirt presented by Old Bay. Don't miss out on one of Birdland's favorite giveaways, perfect for repping the O's at the Yard, at the beach, and everywhere in between. Get your tickets at Orioles.com/tickets.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
This is Byron Warnkin. If you've been injured in a car or truck crash, you probably know this is stressful. Medical bills, the insurance company giving you the runaround, you got to get your car fixed. You don't just need a lawyer, you need results. At Warnkin LLC, we represent the injured across Maryland. Whether it's a car or truck crash case, medical malpractice, or any other serious personal injury, we fight for maximum compensation for you and maximum ease for you. You don't want to have to deal with this stuff stuff. Warnken LLC has been voted best personal injury law firm in Maryland for a reason. For us, 443 Results isn't just a phone number, it's our mission. Get the advocate that you need. Call us today, 443 Results, or visit us online, warnkenlaw.com. That's WARNKENLAW.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
When you feel invisible, exhausted, stressed, or anxious, when you have days that just feel too hard to get through, you are not alone. If you or someone you love is struggling with mental health or problems with drugs or alcohol, help is right in your hands. Call or text 988 to get support whenever you need it. Help is here. Call or text 988. Brought to you by Maryland Department of Health.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
Anything that I'm trying to think if there was any, like, topics-wise. This is, it really, we talk about dog days, man. Like, we are dog days. LeBron James still doesn't feel like signing anywhere, which is it's a weird bit. There was a report last night that said that LeBron is hoping that perhaps one of the teams he's considering will trade for Anthony Davis or Kyrie Irving. And that
he wants to play with Anthony Davis?
I
guess he did
the
win a
5 games
championship.
they did. Well, Anthony Davis won him a championship. I mean, championship.
I believe it counts as a. I believe he got a ring for it.
Yeah, and I do believe he got a ring for it.
I thought he was mad at Adam Silver because Adam Silver said, "Let's move this along," and he was like, "Nah."
Well, I think it'd be hilarious I really think it'd be hilarious if
Listen,
he legitimately was going to sign with the Heat.
The Wizards will wait as long
and
as they need.
then that whoever the goof was in like the AV department, like, you know, put it out there, and he was like, "No, you scoop me, screw that, I'm not coming down there anymore."
The AV guy ruined it.
I think that'd be hilarious if that were the case, but I don't know. Yeah, the report last night. Oh,
or it's all just insider trading, and it was meant to get people to.
This is
to
he's
bet on.
He's got to deal with Kalshi now.
Yeah,
like,
maybe not LeBron, but yeah, the Heat do, and the NBA does, and that's just all. So now so now there's gonna be somehow Cleveland's gonna make something look like LeBron's about to sign here, and then that gets deleted as well. And
by the way, it was Kevin O'Connor of Yahoo who reported. Sources believe LeBron James is slow playing his decision to see if any of his suitors can find a way to land Anthony Davis or Kyrie Irving. The problem is that AD and Kyrie don't seem available for trade. Obviously, like if you're Dusty May,
you know what this feels
and
like.
you just like left for the Mavericks job, which it's hard to squint and believe the Mavericks can compete as is. But any hope of that has to involve Kyrie, right? Like any prayer has to involve Kyrie being healthy and being a pretty close to maybe not prime. I think you're probably past that, but at least above average version of Kyrie Irving.
Maybe it's because I just watched The Odyssey, but he's kind of like Penelope in this, where he's got all these suitors.
Okay.
And he's purposely putting off finishing weaving his thing or whatever. And yeah, he just doesn't.
Well, I think
he's waiting. I guess he's waiting for Odysseus to
I think it just feels nice to be desired. Like you're a 40-some-year-old man. How often are you desired at this point?
Oh, you're saying he just likes it. Yeah,
I think it's just nice that there's all these. Everyone loves LeBron right now, right? He's all their favorite players.
And then he's going to be the worst person in the world.
Yeah, right.
To 29 other
he's
teams.
Satan. Well, you already see some of it. Yo, you're holding everybody up. Like you already see some of that going on right now. All right, let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by the Stand the Fan Variety Hour. Usually every Monday, Stan the Fan, Charles, Ross Grimsley, and Luke Jackson. I think Stan might be taking a small hiatus, just a small one as he recovers. Maybe he'll be back. I mean, I don't know, maybe he'll be just fine and he can do it. He's doing it from home, so it's possible. He'll be on Monday. But it's all brought to you by Warnken Law, as well as the Costas Inn with two great locations, the OG in Dundalk, the new one in Timonium.
Let's see. We saw it yesterday in Game 1 as Aroldis Chapman picked up his 390th career save. Ties him for
Dennis
9th.
Eckersley.
That's
right?
correct. How many can you name the top 8 then? You got 9 and 10 on the list. Top 8 saves all time.
Rivera, obviously.
He is number 1.
Hoffman.
He would be number 2.
Wagner.
Wagner would be number 8.
He's really that low?
422.
We put him in the Hall of Fame. What are we doing exactly?
None of the Hoffman's in, right?
What's that?
Hoffman's in, right?
Oh yeah, he's in.
Okay. So yeah,
of course, the greatest closer of all time, Craig Kimbrell. Orioles.
Craig Kimbrell is at 440, which is 18 more than Billy Wagner.
The funny thing is, like, the other closers that are in the Hall of Fame around, I don't know how they were affected by when the save rule was instituted. So, like, I want to say Raleigh Fingers, but I genuinely don't know. Raleigh Fingers.
341.
And he's in the Hall of Fame.
He is. He is 16th on the
Bruce Sutter.
No Bruce.
Is in the Hall of Fame. Lee Smith.
Lee Smith is at is 4th, 478.
How about Goose Gossage?
No Goose.
He's also in the Hall of Fame.
Goose is...
The number of...
His real name is Rich?
Yes.
Huh. Why does Baseball Reference not put it as Goose? They should put it as
stupid.
Goose.
That's pretty sick.
They have him as Rich Gossage. 310, so 27th.
So there's other guys on the list that are not in the Hall of Fame.
Suter was at 300.
Jansen. Jansen.
Kenley Jansen is 3rd all time. He is only 114 behind Trevor Hoffman. Might catch him. But yeah, that's your top 5. Kimbrell rounds out the top 5 there. So we're looking for 6 and 7 on here.
Who are not in the Hall of Fame.
No.
I've named all the Hall of Fame relievers.
You have.
God. How about John Franco?
Have you named? There's one you didn't name.
There's a Hall of Famer I didn't name.
He had 228 saves, and not like in the top 10 here, but a guy that had a lot of saves and is in the Hall of Fame. I think he started for a while as well. Let me verify.
Smoltz didn't get the 228 saves.
No, he was a White Sox. He spent that's right. He spent the early '60s in Baltimore.
Oh, Hoyt Wilhelm. Sometimes I forget that Hoyt Wilhelm is in the Hall of Fame. Okay. John Franco. Did I say that?
John Franco is on the list.
Okay.
Maybe did you say? Yeah. He is 2 ahead of Billy Wagner. He's 7th. One more.
Man, I don't know. How about Randy Myers?
Nope.
Randall K. Orioles
347 for Randy Myers.
Okay. How about Fernando Rodney?
No Fernando Rodney.
How about Francisco Rodriguez?
Top 20. Yes, K-Rod.
Oh, okay.
Francisco Rodriguez.
I just put Fernando. I swear to God, sometimes Fernando Rodney and Francisco Rodriguez, because they have the same initials. I don't know why.
Yeah, sure. You got it wrong.
Legitimately. No. I just I lump them in together like they're the same persons.
437 for Francisco Rodriguez. He is 6th on the list. But yeah, that's your top 10. 11th on the list with 377. Joe Nathan.
Oh, all right. Good for him.
Jonathan Papelbon.
He's a loser.
Jeff Reardon.
Jeff Reardon, really? Is that high on the list?
Troy Percival?
Troy Percival.
You got that one right. That's your top 15. Randy Myers will be 15th.
All right, very good. How about we get tubular then? Not that there's much to talk about.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
All right, here's what's coming up totally tubular-wise. Nothing.
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff.
Nothing.
Plenty.
Like what?
Impractical Jokers.
Yeah. Impractical Jokers.
Celebrity Family Feud.
Enjoy.
You got Dave Portnoy versus Cooper Flagg on Celebrity Family Feud.
Yeah.
Who you got? They're also doing the USA women's hockey team. Team USA women's hockey versus Team USA men's ice hockey.
On Family Feud?
On Family Feud, yeah. So you can be seated for that, I bet.
Neato. That's what we got?
Stewart fails to save the universe.
What's that?
Stewart accidentally triggers a multiverse Armageddon and sets out to restore the reality It's a Big Bang Theory spinoff thing.
We needed more of those.
It's on HBO Max.
There's one thing we just haven't had enough of. It's Big Bang Theory spinoffs.
I don't know what episode this is. They're in the middle. They're in the midst of the Real Housewives of Orange County season, so you can check that out.
I believe
on
you.
Bravo.
I believe you. Find it all at glennclarkradio.com. You ain't going to find much that's worth a lick. It is just
Go see The Odyssey.
bad. Or watch They Fight.
Oh, yeah, watch They Fight.
If you haven't watched They Fight yet, tonight is the night. Watch They Fight. It's wonderful. It's, as Sheldon Candace told us yesterday, a movie within the Wire universe. Go watch They Fight. It's very, very good. That's all I've got for you. It's a bleak night. We'll come back in, some final thoughts from today, and we're going to talk to Brandon Butterworth as we make a trip down to Bowie to chat with the Chesapeake Baysox. That's next, Glenn Clark Radio.
Aloha, O's fans! Summer is in full swing, and so is Hawaiian Shirt Weekend at the Yard. And for the first time ever, we have one for kids, too. Watch the O's take on the Atlanta Braves on Sunday, July 26th at 1:35 p.m. 5,000 fans 12 and under will score a Kids Birdland Hawaiian shirt presented by Old Bay. Don't miss out on one of Birdland's favorite giveaways. Get your tickets today at Orioles.com/tickets.
This is Stan the Fan. You know we talk all the time about our O's stepping up in the big moments, delivering when it matters most. If you've been injured in a car accident anywhere around Baltimore, that's your big moment, and you need someone who delivers. That's why I'm here to tell you about Warnken Injury Lawyers. They fight for Baltimore families every single day. Insurance companies play games. Warnken plays to win. So call 443-RESULTS. That's 443-RESULTS, or go to warnkenlaw.com. When you need results, it's right there in the number, 443-RESULTS.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
When you feel invisible, exhausted, stressed, or anxious, when you have days that just feel too hard to get through, you are not alone. If you or someone you love is struggling with mental health or problems with drugs or alcohol, help is right in your hands. Call or text 988 to get support whenever you need it. Help is here. Call or text 988. Brought to you by Maryland Department of Health.
The stars are shining brighter at Live Casino this summer. Celebrate America's 250th with $1 million. Earn entries daily July 1st through August 29th and snap a pic with our game board for a chance to win $100 in free play every week. We'll draw 50 free play winners each Saturday and $1 million winner on August 29th. Light it up at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Pressbox is available now. On the cover, Dave LaMonaco profiles Orioles play-by-play voice Kevin Brown, looking at his rise as an amiable mainstay and one of the top voices in all of baseball. Also inside, Antonio Barbera looks at whether the championship window is narrowing for the Ravens veteran core, and our special travel section with a look at sports tourism options throughout Maryland for you and your family to enjoy this summer. Pressbox is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy. when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, Talking Sports.
All right. Thanks today to Ken Zalis. Thanks to Brandon Butterworth from the Baysox, who you're about to hear from. We'll get those up in the greatest hits section of the...
Fallon's going to have Christopher Nolan and Ben Rice.
Oddly, you know what? Christopher Nolan is actually plugging the Stewart movie.
Oh, really?
He's
That
just
HBO Max.
Very
Big
excited
Bang
about the
Theory,
Big Bang Theory.
Stewart fails to
spin-off.
save the universe.
Stewart fails to save the universe. That's what he's really excited. He said it was a tour de force.
Interesting.
That's what he's there to do.
So you go to the Ben Rice and
No,
no,
I would not go to that tour.
Hit a home
I mean,
run
by the way, again, this goes back to when they had like Jazz Chisholm on. Like, how bad is it for trying to get
any
guests
other
on the
stars
show?
on the Yankees?
Jesus Christ!
What do they have? Like, it's not like they have Aaron.
But why do
Judge.
they even need to have a like? What this smells like? Either they had 3 guests cancel, or whatever, and they were just desperate. Like,
I bet they've been talking to Ben Rice.
who's in
probably
town?
since-
They're like, we could put a Yankees player on, and they tried to get the real ones, and they were like, well, let's.
He's got 30 home runs. He's like second in the league. I think.
Imagine you're the guy that going to the. I can't wait to see who the big star is that we're going to see on the
Ben
Fallon
Rice
show
has the
tonight.
second highest
And it's
OPS
Ben
in all of
Rice.
baseball.
Good. That's all well and good. No one has any idea who he is.
He was in
the
the home
world.
run derby. He had the least amount of home runs in the home run
If the
derby.
Fallon show was a sports show, it would make sense. It's not. It's just a show. No.
Would we put Ben Rice on?
Yeah. Sure. You go ahead. Who do we have? One time we had Didi Gregorius on. It was the most
Really?
random thing ever.
While he was on the Yankees?
I don't know if he. Yeah, I guess it had to be while he was at the Yankees. Maybe he was a Philly at the time. I don't remember. I remember that he was doing. Like, he had partnered with Johns Hopkins on something.
Oh, okay.
And they were like, hey, we're reaching out to see if you'd have Didi Gregorius on. I'm like, what? Like, okay. I mean, I guess.
December 2020.
Yeah, I guess it might have been related to the vaccine. I don't know.
Yeah, he was working alongside Hopkins to help raise awareness and fight COVID-19.
There you go.
Look at that.
There
You were
you
saving
go.
lives.
Yeah, saving lives. Talking to Didi Gregorius. It was so random. It's like, all right, yeah, we'll do it. You got it. We'll talk to Didi. No problem. There used to be stuff like that all the time where, like, in radio, back when radio mattered, like, you get a call like, hey, could you have Packers wide receiver Greg Jennings on today?
He was a free agent at this moment.
Oh, he was a free agent? Where'd he end up?
This was in 2020, so I was trying to figure out why you had him on.
Really interested in.
Where was he between 2019 and 2020? He was he was coming off of 5 seasons in New York.
Yeah.
And then signed with Philly
Signed with
shortly
the
after.
Phillies. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would happen all the time in radio. It would just be the most random, like, not, current athletes. Like, they'd call you and be like, hey, would you have, there's a famous story of a time that Dan Patrick had Matt Harvey on behalf of Qualcomm, and he was hurt, and Dan Patrick was trying to ask about his injury, and he was like, I just really want to talk about Qualcomm. I'm just here to honor and lift up Qualcomm. It's a very famous moment in radio history. All right. Tomorrow, no, I'm not here the rest of the week. I'm done. I will be in just a few minutes.
I made a mistake. He was coming off of 2019, or no. That's right. Okay, so it was the 60-game season. He was in Philly.
He was in Philly.
Then he was free agent. Philly brought him back.
Oh, okay. There we go.
After
the coordinator, he's going to join us on the coordinator. He's going to join us on Mondays.
And we'll be talking about, I guess, an Orioles sweep.
That would be really nice. That would be swell. Thanks to everybody at PressBox. Thanks to our great sponsors and partners, including Live Casino and Hotel, the Baltimore Orioles, the Costas Inn, Baltimore area Highs Dairy Stores, Leading Edge Auto Body, Warnken Law, 1-800-GAMBLER, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Cruise Maryland, CountySports.zone, the Maryland Department of Health, your local Toyota dealer, buy a Toyota. Oh, hello, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Thursday evening. Go nobody. Duke sucks. We wrap up today's show. Had to record it a little bit earlier. Had the chance to make a visit down to Chesapeake. He's been hot. Brandon Butterworth with us now here on GCR. Well, it's time for us to make a trip down to Bowie to chat with a member of the Chesapeake Baysox. And this week, since this guy returned from the IL, he has been firing on all cylinders. He's now OPSing .858 on the season in 35 games at the AA level. He is Orioles prospect Brandon Butterworth, and he's with us right now here on GCR. Brandon, it's Glenn. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Brandon, can you take us back to last year, right? And, you know, as a young man, maybe some of the shock that going through a trade and being sent from an organization on one side of the country to the other side of the country, maybe what that does to you, how maybe it impacts you from a mental state, from a baseball state?
Yeah, of course. Like you said, it was definitely a shock. It was something that I've never expected that would happen in my first year. But it really opens your eyes to, what professional baseball is. It is a business at the end of the day. And, it took a while for me to understand that. But, once I did, it was, I was able to, fully come to the mind of what happened. I love the Padres. It was an amazing organization. And then, coming over here to the Orioles, it's the same thing. I love the Orioles. I absolutely love how they handle things, how they coach, and, how they go about their business.
And looking at your numbers after the trade, is it reasonable to think that that might have impacted you? I know also at the same time you were making the jump up to the Double-A level, so I know that adjustment certainly plays in, but did any of that impact you from a baseball standpoint, just maybe the struggle to adjust to such a dramatic change?
I mean, maybe a little bit. Yeah, maybe a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's still baseball. So, I kind of wouldn't want to put that, that blame on it. I think it was just more of just, baseball in general being tough. But other than that, I don't think it was necessarily, the trade happening, other than the fact that, it was a big change in my life. But, I feel like at the end of the day, it is still baseball. So whether it's, in Fort Wayne, Indiana, Bowie, Maryland, or anywhere across the United States, I feel like, it's still the same game.
Brandon Butterworth is with us here on GCR. Brandon, as I referenced, obviously the numbers have been really good this season. I know you went through an injury back in May. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Maybe some of the frustration of going through that when things are going a little bit good for you, and how you've been able to come out from the other side, and obviously right now being completely red hot.
Yeah, I mean, I tweaked my knee in May. I didn't really understand the injury fully. It was a kind of a freak accident on a swing. I ended up tearing my LCL, which is the outer ligament in my knee. And, the body felt fine. So, I didn't really understand me going on the IL until they, really explained it to me, really explained the MRI results. So, coming to, fully understand that was a little frustrating, just to the fact that, like you said, like I was, starting to feel good, and, I hate missing time, because I feel like, the best time, a player can be on the field is being on the field. You can showcase your skills as much as you can. So I felt like, that injury, getting down to Florida was, a little frustrating, but, I had to accept it. And then, just had to dominate the rehab as, as best as I could, just so I can get back on the field.
You come out of it, obviously, I referenced being red hot. Did I see correctly you're on an 8-game hit streak right now?
Something like that, maybe. I don't know.
All right, not paying too much. Do you know what the longest one is of your, at any level, whether it was high school? Do you know what your longest hit streak of all time is?
I do not know.
Okay, all right. Maybe this is the time to set some history, right? Like maybe this is the moment to put together the type of streak that you're going to remember forever. I love baseball players are by far and away, to me, the most superstitious of all athletes I know. When things are going well, like the way they are for you right now, do you alter the routine? Do you make sure you keep the routine the same? Do you not care about this whatsoever?
I kind of look at it as, it's expected. For me, I set really high standards for myself. So, I'm, going through stuff like this, it's more like this is why you're here. This is who you are as a player. This is expected. And then, when I'm, struggling as well, it's like, it's baseball. Baseball's a hard sport. Try not to ride the low as long as for a long time, and, try to get back into, that kind of that median, and get back up to the high, of, seeing the ball well. But as of right now, I've definitely been seeing the ball well. But for me, this is expected. I'm always trying to play the best that I can and showcase who I am as a player.
So if I ask more generically, is there something that's specifically clicked? Is there any maybe work that you did in the off season, or as you referenced while you were down in Florida, that like something that perhaps you adjusted, you tinkered with, that you feel like might be paying off significantly right now?
I would say not necessarily, swing wise, or, seeing something different. I think it was just more of just that mental reset of, being injured and being out for, 5 or 6 weeks. I feel like, being able to completely reset my mind and understand that, I'm coming back. I missed a good amount of time, but that's over. Like I can't think about that now. I can't, stress about it, because, I couldn't change it if I tried. So I feel like, just that reset of me just, slowing my mind down and understanding that, I got to focus on today and then what's ahead of me.
You are listed at just 5'9", 168. Do you know like how close that is to where you actually are at the moment?
I'm probably, I would like to say, maybe an inch or two taller, and
Okay.
then I'm probably around 175.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's about the same.
How much in your life have you dealt with like those? Obviously, like you weren't a first round pick. Like, how much have you dealt with those that have told you you're not big enough? Right. Like that. Obviously, the shortstop position in particular became a bigger man's position over the years in baseball. And how much has that kind of driven you to like continue to prove people wrong as a pro?
Yeah, I mean, I think about it every single time I'm stepping on the field. I've dealt with that my whole life. I've had college coaches who I ended up playing against in college tell me that I would never step foot on a Division One baseball field. I've had coaches who at a lower level, nothing against, D2, D3, JUCO, NAI, nothing against that, but I've had coaches at that level tell me that I'll never play college baseball.
Wow.
So, I've thought about stuff like that my whole life, and, it drives me to play every single day, especially when I step on that field now because, now you got, the top prospects, you have the first rounders, you have the guys who sign for X amount of money. And, at the end of the day, the way I look at it is, it doesn't matter who you are, it's me versus you. And it's, you tie the shoes the same way I do. So I feel like when you step on the field, you got to have that mindset, because if you start to think into the, the prospect level and stuff like that, you can really get like, you can really dig yourself a grave.
It's really well said, man. And obviously, there are no shortage of guys that have been told that they're not big enough. I think Jose Altuve was told that a time or two in his life. It seems like it worked out pretty okay for him. It feels like that's been all right. I reference obviously shortstop, but you've been playing kind of everywhere this season. Can you give me a sense for the value of that? Like how comfortable you feel like you are at multiple positions, and obviously that goes a long way because, as we always talk about with guys that are in your shoes, you just never know where the opportunity is going to be once you get to the bigs.
Yeah, of course. They came to me in spring training and we're talking about, playing a little bit of outfield and playing third base, playing second base, and of course, sticking at shortstop. And my response to them was, whatever gets me in the lineup, put me whatever. I'll catch if you guys need me to. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And they liked that answer, and they knew that I was gonna play every position 110%. But playing center field is really fun. They got me at third base tonight, which I love third base as well. Like I said, it's whatever gets me in the lineup. Because the more you play, the more you're able to experience who you are, the more you're able to make your way through the minors and try to get to that overall goal.
Has there been like one particular thing that you've learned, whether it's about center field or third base? Like, is there anything that just playing one of these other spots a little bit more, you've learned an appreciation for like the difficulty of the adjustment? Any one unique skill that you've had to pick up?
Yeah, for sure. I think at third base, for center field, I think it's coming from an infielder, I feel like it's a little bit easier for like reads and jumps. And, I mean, there's still stuff to work on, the tedious things. But other than that, I think center field has come a little bit easier to me. I love center field. I think it's so fun to play. But for third base, they hit the ball hard to third base. So I feel like, just at shortstop, I'm always used to going through the ball, going, charging the baseball. So I feel like at third base, I feel like it's just, playing a little bit slower, letting the ball come to me, and just like trusting my hands. I talked to DJ, our infield coach, who's, one of the best infield coaches I've ever had. And, we talked about it and took ground balls one day at third base. And he helped me a lot with, just having me, like I said, relax my feet and just letting the ball come to me.
Look, man, I see some of those balls that get rocketed off. I'm just like, yo, that ball was going to murder me. Like, that ball would absolutely kill me. I don't know how you guys make those plays. I don't think you guys were ever together, if I remember correctly. The Orioles just drafted Ty Head in the second round of the draft this year. Have you gotten to know Ty at any point, maybe going back to NC State? Like, do you have any, or obviously I'm going to assume you've talked to some folks that know him. What can you tell us about Ty?
Yeah, no, Ty's my guy. I get to go back to NC State a couple times to, work out, and, I got to go back when Trey Turner was there. So I got to meet Ty a lot. I got to hang out with Ty. I think he's an awesome dude. And I didn't really get to see him play as much just because you're playing
baseball, right? But I get it. I do get that.
But at the same time, I've talked to the coaches. I've talked to a lot of people that play with him, and I've heard nothing but amazing things. But from just a guy standpoint, just a person of who he is, he's an amazing dude. And I can tell that he absolutely loves baseball.
That's cool, man. That's really cool, and also cool to have like the whole like NC State pipeline thing, like maybe happening
sure.
in the Orioles organization. That's got to be a
sure.
good feeling. All right, so I want to talk about what's going on with the Baysox. I should point out that this is like next weekend is a big weekend coming up down in Bowie because Banana Ball is coming to Prince George's County Stadium. And I ask you, Brandon Butterworth, like I'm sure you've watched plenty of videos of these dudes. Like, we know it's different. We know it's not like, baseball. We know it's a show. But when you watch this, like, is there a party that's like, I don't know if I could do some of this stuff. Like, how impressed are you when you see what these cats are doing?
It's cool. That's what I'm going to say about it. It's cool.
Wait a second. Hang on, is there a rivalry between baseball players and this thing, or is it like did I don't know about? Okay. All right.
No, not at all. No.
All right.
No. I personally would never ever do it.
You don't think you could be out there like dancing to Pink Pony Club? That probably wouldn't be.
I don't think so, especially when playing baseball. No, I think there's a time to separate the two. I don't think you should bring those two together. But other than that, like, I think it's cool. They get the kids going, they get the social media going. So I mean, good for them. They do a good job with that.
Obviously, and I know that everybody's excited about that. In the meantime, this weekend, of course, the Baysox are going to be at home with some great events, including tonight, Margaritaville night, something I can get behind, and rocking out as the Congrejos Fantasmas de Chesapeake, which is always one of my favorites. It's also a Baysox Boonie hat giveaway. Navy night tomorrow night, which is, if you've never been, maybe the best night of the year, with everyone in their gear showing up at the stadium. It's awesome. Fireworks night as well. So much going on this weekend. Touch a Truck, which I can tell you, having taken my kids in the past, they lose their mind. It's just a bunch of work trucks parked in the parking lot. They get to go out, hop up, take pictures with them. It's an awesome event. All that happening this weekend with the Baysox. What is your all-time, now that you've been in for a couple of years, what is your single favorite promotion that you've been part of, or like jersey that you've been able to wear during your time in the minors, Brandon?
Yeah, of course. I don't think anything beats July 4th. I think, it's just being baseball. I think July 4th is just the best day. There's always 10,000 fans there. There are always kids just waiting for the fireworks. You get the cool jerseys. You get the cool hats. I think that's the best day for sure.
That's a great dude. Are you a Sandlot guy? Does it like to make you think about like that scene?
For sure,
it's the greatest scene in movie history, right? Like it gives you
100%.
goosebumps every time you watch it every year, and you know it's coming, and it still gives you goosebumps.
Yep.
It's unbelievable, man. That's awesome. Brandon, where are you on social media that Orioles fans can be giving you a follow?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, or X if you like to call it. You can slip in on butter.
Slipping on butter. Okay, so is there a story behind that, or is it just like a cool, fun play on your name?
Yeah, I mean, one day, so me and my buddies always used to play video games growing up. We'd always, want to get the new game, want to get the new console. We'd always try to play as long as we could until, of course, Mom would tell us to get off at 10 o'clock for school. So we got the new console. Probably when I would say maybe 13 years old, 14 years old, and we were all coming up with new names, and all my buddies had, cool new names for their nickname and something. And I was just thinking one day, and I think it was like at 11:30, I was laying in bed, and I was thinking, a 13-year-old me was like, slipping on butter.
And you just rolled with it.
Yep, I just rolled with it. So now it's my Gmail account, it's my Twitter, it's my console name, it's all that.
I look forward to when you get up to the bigs and they do Players Weekend, and you can put "Slipping on Butter" on the back of your jersey. Like, I love.
Yep, exactly.
I love that, man. That is awesome. Give Brandon a follow there. Brandon Butterworth, man, continued success to you. Obviously, great to have you healthy and performing the way you've been performing. May it can continue forever, and just we be talking about nothing but good times ahead. Appreciate you taking the time for us.
Thank you so much, for real.